Hi everyone, thank you for tuning in with us today. I'm here with Ron Gibson of Ron Gibson Properties in association with Le Grise. Once again, thanks for tuning in and great to see you again, Ron. Hope you've been keeping well. So I thought, today would be a great opportunity really just to find a little bit more about you and what you do with Le Grise and within the company. Because look, I've known you for a few years now, but I certainly heard of you years before that, and heard of many people speak highly of you within the industry. So what if I'll kick off today really just asking a sort of a question really, where did it all begin for you? Because you seem pretty well known.
Actually, it started a little bit away from here. My falling in love with the estate agency industry was, crikey, if I can remember that far back then, started off in 2000 when I was actually living in Tenerife, and I met up with a lady who did a lot of holiday accommodation and started doing photographs and things for her, showing people around. So that's how actually I really began to start to think, property could be an interesting career. And then I came to the UK, back home, enjoyed the sun. It was very nice out there, and obviously getting back to the rain one minute, the sun the next, although this year we've been lucky. But I started off in corporate, I started off for Countrywide, had really good backing, really good training initially, and I really enjoyed my time there. But I have to say it nearly didn't work out in a estate agency because I was actually working in Stenning. But my very first day, I remember very well, I actually did a viewing. I was sent out to this really nice big posh country house, and I ended up doing the viewing. I was very shy in those days, hard to believe for anyone watching and listening today, but I could be such a character. But certainly I remember walking further and further back in this garden, and I was backing off as this person was coming towards me because it was just a bit too much in my space. I don't know if you sometimes have that. Yeah. So I just kept reversing, and unfortunately I fell straight backwards into a little pond. So I had the embarrassment of going back to the office in my first day of estate agency officially. I looked like something that had just come out of a horror film. So, but yeah, my career started there, and then I came back into Ashdown Forest area where I've been now for 20 years and really enjoy it very much. And I think it's just through having sold now probably in the region of over 2,000 properties, or been certainly involved in those transactions, as you have yourself, you do start to get quite a few you deal with. So yes.
Interesting, Ashdown Forest. I've walked dogs there a few times, well, many times actually. It's such a nice spot. What attracts you to the area? Do you live nearby, or?
We're big fans of poo sticks. Of course, no, but it was because we'd lived in London, we've lived in Brighton, and then suddenly we thought, let's move more to the countryside. And having Ashdown Forest on your doorstep, as you know, it's a huge national park. Very lucky to have it as it is. And what's lovely is you just say you can get away and be away from everything. We go walking every morning, evening, like you do with your dogs. It's a wonderful space and amenity to have on the doorstep. So we just did it for lifestyle, and we're seeing more and more Londoners now coming out of the area for that reason, because they just want a bit more space. And I think COVID, didn't it, taught us all a different lifestyle.
Certainly, and I suppose your model adapts that as well, really. In your position within the company, you are so flexible in the areas that you cover. You don't rely on having that office because you work for yourself, and that's so successful in what you do. But equally, it shows you again what COVID has done in the last few years recently, and people moving out of the city, amount of people realise actually you don't need to have an office front or a desk in an office. You can do it remotely, and so that's interesting. So going back to you again, I suppose, really, what would you say sets you apart from the others? I know you personally, and you're a great character, and what would you say personally is the difference between you and others? What you can offer?
I know they say all agents are the same, but as we've both had this discussion in the past, I think, personality sells houses, and I'm quite horrified when I see quite a lot of details out there that have no personality and no enthusiasm. And I think personally, enthusiasm sells a house. So one way I like to try and show that is by using social media. Social media for me is what gets me out there to people, but also it provides buyers for my sellers, because it's such a powerful tool. As we live nowadays, whether we like it or not, we live on our mobile phones. And if you have someone who is really encouraging you to come and view the property, that's what I think differentiates. And also just the fact using social media more, I don't have to be scripted. I can do what's best for each individual estate agent, each individual property owner. And what I think is even better is I can listen to their needs, because everyone's different. So it's a bespoke package that I offer, rather than, and it's no dig towards a high street, because we both worked for high street estate agents, and everyone has their place, but it just means I can actually do a package which better suits that individual, because at the end of the day, everyone is individual and everyone has different reasons, etc.
I think that's very important, and there's some good points you've made there, really. And so you obviously, from what I see and what I hear, you are very passionate about the property industry, the job you do. What's your driving factor, I suppose? What makes you get out of bed in the morning and do what you do?
I think it's really important. I'm a big advocate. I think we should actually all be, I think there needs to be a regulation or stronger regulation to the industry. I think it's still quite strange that your biggest asset could be sold by someone who has never sold a property in their life before. We've got a lot of industry background, but you could have someone who could be someone else in a different industry. Tomorrow they could set up and sell your biggest asset. So I go to a lot of conferences because I find from them you can continuously learn. And even though I've been doing this now for 22 years, it's amazing. Even from, as I say, we've had discussions and you've taught me a lot. If you listen and you learn, but I have to say, for me, the industry is, I'm really driven by raising standards, because I get really upset. Maybe my wife tells me off for not doing so and getting upset and annoyed. But I find when I see things that aren't done properly, and when we've had discussions, I think open houses, for example, it's important and it's imperative we get our customers and clients the best possible price. Sometimes buyers don't like that, but at the end of the day, it's the client, the vendor we work for. So my biggest drive is actually making the industry better and giving the customer the best possible service. And personally, through the Grise, that's why I've teamed up with them. I've actually felt I can achieve those ambitions.
Brilliant. No, and that's that just mirrors everything I've heard and know about you, I suppose, really, and your ethics and your morals around the job you do, and how you really enjoy the job you do, which is important, hugely important with any job you do in life. What is your favourite part, apart from falling in ponds at an earlier stage in your career? What are your favourite? What's your favourite part?
Well, I used to like doing fishing, hence the pond, but not for myself being in there. But the favourite part is meeting people. And I am a people person, and there's times, I must admit, when maybe that does get rather stretched, I think, for all of us. But it's lovely because our job is so varied. We don't just come in, sit by a computer and do the same job day in, day out. Every day is different. Every property is different. Every client is different. So what I like is you get up in the morning, you've got a set plan ahead, but I have to say 90% of the time, it just changes as the day evolves. So you've got to be always ready and alert, but it's wonderful industry to be part of. And that's what I have to say I really love about it, because it's so varied. That's the best part of the job. It's not just one thing.
And one thing, actually, it's again interesting, but I'm sure actually quite a funny point to make actually is how many people, having doing the job myself, you must hear it all the time, because I certainly do, repeatedly. You must love the job you do. It must be really good looking around other people's houses. I'd love to do that job. It must be so fun being nosy. I mean, that's really obviously far from a point, because we're not there to be nosy. But it kind of leads me on to what I was going to ask you actually. Is, well, you do see a lot of properties in this job. You see period properties. You see new builds. You see flats. You see mansions. I mean, and you do get inspiration from properties and about what you would like in life if you had that choice of property. And that's kind of just what I'd round things off, really. If you had a dream property, where would it be? Would you be here in England? Would you be in the Ashdown Forest? Would you have a small cottage with a big lake to swim in? It'd be interesting to see what the ideal would be for you. What would your dream be?
I think that's one of the hardest questions to answer you could possibly have. But I think every time I look at those Amaze draws, and this isn't an advert for them, I hasten to add, every time I see their £3 million houses in their raffles that they do, they're always my dream houses, sometimes overlooking the sea, because I do like the sea. But also, having lived now in Ashdown Forest area for the last 20 plus years, there's nothing nicer. I would love to have this house with a bit of privacy around it, but with stunning views. And where we are even filming today, I have to say this really is beautiful. And that's, to me, location, peace and quiet. People then don't have to listen to me either, so I can have my Chaz and Dave music on in the distance and it'll be fine.
No, brilliant. And I think, again, that reiterates how fortunate, I suppose, we are to work in such a lovely area here. I mean, yeah, in East Sussex, as we are today, both covering East Sussex areas individually, and I think it's very easy to take it for granted what a lovely place we live in. And
very grateful.
Very enjoyable part of the job is living around here. So, Ron, you mentioned you're big on your social media. That's a big part for you. Where can we find you? Obviously, you'll find you through the Legrais pages, etc. But to find you individually, obviously, I'm sure people watching this video may want to reach out, and you may be the person who can help them find their dream home, or help them sell what was their dream home to move on to the next dream home, if that makes sense. Where can we find you?
And thank you. Yeah, I tend to use certain channels better than others. I mean, I'm on various ones, but Facebook, I'm on, my handle is Your Personal Estate Agent UK. And then on YouTube, where I do videos, because I find that videos are really important as well for showcasing properties, as we're doing today, hence video. But for me, it's so mine is Your Personal Estate Agent is my YouTube channel as well. So as well as YouTube, Facebook, I'm found on Instagram, and yes, believe it or not, for my age, TikTok as well. But I'm a bit more crazy on that. That's for different purposes, but TikTok also has a huge place. So yes, on every single social media channel.
Brilliant. Well, look, I think your enthusiasm in the career you led yourself into is obvious. It's been really enjoyable sitting down and talk to you today, Ron. And look, I hope your successes continue, and keep doing what you're doing, keep helping people move and make that dream move for people. And look, going back to what I said earlier, knowing Ron for years, he's very well known. He's got it was very reputable, and a lot of people speak highly of you, Ron. So if anyone is looking for an agent in the Ashdown Forest and surrounding areas, Ron may well be your man. Get in touch with him. Follow him on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Yeah, wherever you can find him, get in touch, and I'm sure he'll be more than happy to help.
Thank you very much, Dan. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you.